as emotive as they get. And from the wonderful moments of joy, pride, and excitement, the seasons of this show have seen us through it all.
Wow, it's beautiful! Look! It is beautiful. Yeah, that's what I really wanted.
We have journeyed with various couples to bring you all sorts of stories. Some miraculous, others hilarious.
The judge is closed.
Picture of wanted there, mug shots. Okay, you see this person, you watch him closely. Anything happens, out.
Still, some romantic. Yes, some brought tears to your eyes.
It was 7 o'clock early in the morning. My sister was next to me when Morezi was born. And that morning, I cried the whole day. And today, for the first time since then, I'm feeling the same way that I felt when Morezi came to me, to this world. This is my daughter. Thank you very much.
And thankfully, none of them was heart-wrenching. But behind each beautiful story lies the good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly.
So you're dropping out from line, you won't match.
Yeah, that's 1,500 is a little too much for me.
Okay.
In today's show, we unveil the mask as we go back in hindsight with couples from some of the most memorable episodes of the show, as in the case of In Hindsight versus the State of the Union. Meet the Queen of Sheba once again. As usual, she has all the answers for you. Most of you loved to hate her. A good number of your Facebook comments said she was a mean bride.
It's my day, you guys have to work with my timing. We will, Your Majesty. The wedding should run according to the bride's availability.
Some even called her a bridezilla.
What's a bridezilla? That's me. You can't change it. That's what John loved. So it's up to the other third party. It's between me and John.
Still, others thought she would have put her money to better use.
After the show on NTV, Samantha, the girls there were asking me, it must have been very expensive. You must have put like $1 million plus. I told them, it doesn't matter because somebody else will put that $1 million on a car. Someone else will put it on a house, but I put it on my wedding. I put it on what I wanted. So it's a matter of choices.
And especially these particular sentences did not go down well with most viewers.
There's usually some nini I don't like. You know, the ones all Kenyans use, and then they put so many things hanging. I don't want that. Even before I met this dream guy, I used to look at magazines on weddings. I never saw people hanging clothes that go like this. They call them draperies or what? I don't like that. I told them, please, this is a beach wedding. Don't bring those clothes. The beach is already beautiful. So like I was telling them not to bring what I don't want, basically.
Okay, but just what was with the blue tiebacks?
She said part of the cause they're bringing is the blue ribbon. So you want me to get rid of that?
Get rid of any blue nonsense in the beach. It's white like sand. Yes, it's done. They're bringing cheap ribbons. I don't want ribbons. Church is pure white like Jesus Christ. Let me not find anything blue there. It has the tuba. At the church, I'd said I wanted a white beach wedding. So the chairs were just meant to have white covers. Luckily, I saw them when I was being done my hair. I was just looking in the mirror and I saw some blue things and I was like, is that my wedding being done there?
So where do you think the florist got her brief from, dear bride?
It's the Kenyan way of doing things. I mean, in Kenyan weddings, if there's no tie back, then there's no wedding, it seems. You know, my wedding is my wedding. It's not like another wedding you've done before. And by the time I'm doing my wedding, I've researched. I didn't see those tie backs being put anywhere. I didn't see the draperies being put anywhere. I just saw flowers and lighting. Give me flowers and lighting.
I see. But tell us one thing. What was the story with the florists?
I had to get people last minute who charged me extra. The first person who was to do our deco said we just pay her 50% and then 50% after the day is over. Now them, they wanted 75%. We did 70. And now today they wanted us to top it up. I mean, you pay them 100% before I see a little single flower. I think they're crazy. But they actually tried people here in Nairobi. And there's a lady who told me that I needed like 200K to do the flowers. And then I needed to add another 75K for transport. And I told her we could transport her. She told me she needs to sleep in an air-conditioned hotel. So last minute I sent my sister to look for a florist, which she did.
Do you feel disappointed?
I think they did a good job. Later on, we were looking at the photos, the flowers look great. The photos.
But this is just one of the scenes that earned her the title Queen of Sheba.
I'm waiting for the music to be changed. They're playing for me one music the whole time. What is wrong with the DJ? I told him to play the first stanza and the first chorus. You see, we selected music and there were two special songs. The song my hubby was walking down with and the song I was gonna walk down with.
It must have been a really special song. Which song was this?
I don't remember.
Exactly. Why did you make so much noise about it?
Because we had organized this for almost 6 months. And even the first things we chose the guest list. The second thing we chose was the song list. I also had another guy in Westland who does CDs, who was compiling for me the list of songs. There's a friend of mine, a colleague who worked with in the office, who was also looking for the same list of songs. I had like 4 backups. I told the DJ that play the first stanza and the chorus for every song. But then now this song, he extended it. He played the first stanza, he went to the chorus, the next stanza and the chorus, and I was just there. So I don't know whether he forgot. I really don't know what happened. As long as he played the song and I went and I got married, I didn't ask him. After that. But then I didn't really take it seriously, my stopping there, until I saw it in the video. I was like, really? I stopped and I refused to walk?
Yes, you did. But moving on, there was the church issue in the morning.
You know, we actually came all the way from Nairobi because we wanted to exchange our vows at the beach. Not the word exchange our vows at the beach. Underlined. The fact that we paid for the beach, we came all the way from Nairobi to do our wedding at the beach, to exchange our rings at the beach. And then you're forced into a building and it was very hot. We printed out the cards, we printed out the programs. And then last minute we were told that according to the Bishop of Mombasa, we cannot do a wedding at the beach. They informed us last week, but we thought they would change their mind. So this week, we decided to cope with it. Most of my friends have gone for their weddings, the Protestant churches, and they do their weddings in gardens. And they're happily married. So then, according to me, the church is the people. The church is not the building. Where did Jesus used to preach? Anywhere the people were. He only, I think, went to church once or twice. The time he hid from the mother, and also the time he went to throw away guys who were trading in the church. So I didn't have a problem with the church, just that after we agree it's the beach, and then now we move it and say now it's not the beach, it's the church. The cards are already printed out. How again do you communicate?
Did you feel your dreams were not fulfilled?
The church was very beautiful. I don't have hard feelings about the church. I got my dream wedding apart from a few providers who let me down.
Well, what you don't know is that the bride wanted curls.
Because every time I was a maid in my friends' weddings, I would do those curls. And I said I have to do this for my wedding too.
But that was never to be.
I got a little bit late for the church because I was in the spa. I was feeling a bit tensed. I had a headache in the morning. So I was like, instead of having a bad day, let me pass by the spa. So I had a massage there. And so we didn't have time to do the curls. So Corinne just held up my hair a little bit.
Funny thing is, she never even realized it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the day. I remembered later after I picked the pictures and I was like, no, this hair was not meant to be like this. But then some friends of mine told me, your hair looked good. So I was like, well, okay.
But all the same,
So if you want to do something for your wedding, do it for the wedding because it will keep coming. It never goes. I had a headache. Now, can you imagine if I went to church with a headache and the church was very hot? I would not have my dream wedding. Would somebody have come another day and told me, can you repeat the wedding because that wedding you had a headache? So I had to do away with the headache and the only thing was to go to the spa. Can you imagine if I walked down with a different song? What would have happened? I would still be thinking about, I didn't walk with that song today. Then I keep thinking, I didn't do those spirals today. Then I keep thinking, my florist didn't do my deco. I didn't have lighting the way I wanted.
like every other wedding, there was some sticky situation.
The hotel, I think they must have overcharged us. Because initially we planned for 100 guests, then when most people were neither here nor there, so we put them out of the list. So we had about 70 guests, 78. So we told them, let's just do 80. So I still feel 80 or less guests were there. But then when we were leaving the hotel, they produced a bill. We were like, what's the bill about? Because we paid everything, we only had a balance of 50,000. And they brought almost 120. So we had about 70,000 extra to pay for. And we asked them, they told us your guests were more than 80. We were like, those guests were not more than 80. We were so sure. But they insisted, so we just paid. So I advise anybody, if you're using a hotel, you better use meal vouchers or something. Yeah, or have a wedding planner who can actually know which guests came, even by name, or even go around and count your guests. Especially if there are few guests, like 100, can actually even go around and even put down the names of the guests.
And that's how they had to postpone their honeymoon.
They actually made us not go to Zanzibar. 70K you didn't plan for?
They went down to Serena, Mombasa for 6 nights and spent another 3 nights at Kilaguni pending the grand honeymoon trip. And what is the state of their union?
Yeah, we're married. But he's away, he's still in the States. He keeps coming every 3 months. But he's gonna be here for good from August next year.
Now, if there's one thing she has learned, it is that weddings indeed help us define our true friends.
That's my line manager. And my friend in Safaricom. The only friend I can count on now. The others are just for smiling. Hi. I actually even had cousins who are in Mombasa and they said she's doing a wedding in the South Coast. And they live in the North Coast and they didn't come. I have friends who didn't come and they pretend like nothing ever happened. But it's fine. It actually gives me an easy time in life because now I don't have so many people to look for. I don't have so many people to go visit. I'm not obliged to be at my friends' committees or to have to go for their weddings. Even in the office, if I'm somebody who used to go for every wedding in my office. A colleague is wedding, I'm there. A colleague, it doesn't matter which department they come from. I would just go. But then I realized nowadays I don't have to. If I'm bored, I'll go.
As for whether she's a bridezilla,
After you guys showed the video, people I met, friends around in the office, they were like, you're tough. So the other day I asked my hubby, everyone says I'm tough. Am I tough? He said, you're tough. You're so soft. So John is happy, I'm happy. That's what matters.
then we had the young at heart couple. With Esther, 43 years old, and Johnson, 51 at the time, theirs was a seasoned love. But after waiting 2 decades to have their wedding, they were in for a rude shock.
The guy who's supposed to supply us with tents and stuff, seats, it's not around, it's not shown up yet. The event was supposed to start at 11:30. We talk about midday. For me, 11:30 is 11:30, that's why I have a watch.
Their tent supplier was nowhere in sight.
They are nowhere to be found.
She's saying, well, we are around the corner, and this corner seems to be a bigger corner than the normal corners. It's terrible, particularly when it's from a friend. Yeah, I think you should not do a business with friends. It should be an arm's strength. Arm's strength. Let's have friendship after business, because when you mix business, you just take things for granted, kind of.
After 22 years of waiting for this day, hell was about to break loose.
I mean, it's causing anxiety. It's an embarrassment for me because I have a watch. The priests are here. 2 priests are here already. I see my family, my congregations are here, and it's just it's not acceptable. It's not the way to do business. It's not the way to do things.
Of all the things that could have gone wrong on this day, this was the least of their expectations.
But this is what happens when you believe in people sometimes. Sometimes it's just good to go in the market and just go get your quotes and forget about it. Friendship can come after.
In the end, some of the tents arrived just in the nick of time. And of course, the wedding went on. But what you didn't know is that the bride had to be delayed at home. And all this time, she had no clue of what was going on.
I was wondering, we are ready, the women are here, everybody's there, and they have sung, Paka, their voices have gone. Why aren't we leaving? So that's when I overheard her talking to one of my sisters that the place is, there's not a single chair at the venue. At that point, I think I went completely blank. I was not thinking.
So really and truly, just what happened on this day?
Honestly, that's why I say I don't understand what exactly happened. Because the first 2 months, I didn't even want to see how to talk to her. She says there was a mix-up. What mix-up? I don't know. Why she did not bring the food tent and the other tent and even the cake tent, even the bridal tent. I have no idea.
Remember Eva and Charles? This drama queen, as most of your comments on our Facebook page suggested, was famous for refusing to come out of her bridal car.
I can see even the reception is not set up. I don't know what's happening.
But just to refresh your mind, Eva and Charles chose to tie the knot at the monumental, strange but wonderful Lord Egerton Castle in Joro.
The reason why we chose the Lord Egerton Castle is because it's away from town, and most of our visitors are not from Nakuru, so we wanted them to have an experience, a tourism experience sort of, and a getaway, and it's a unique place.
But there is one thing she did not know.
It has been everything that I did not expect. I expected it to be like, shopping, the way a shopping for a girl, it's relaxing. I thought it was going to be easy, finding the right dress, but planning actually ended up being a rather difficult process with ups and downs that I didn't expect at all.
Just what was she thinking?
I had suppliers from all over, Nakuru, Nairobi, and dealing with my bridesmaids and having all of them synchronize all the people together. It was difficult. There was a lot of traveling. At some point you realize it's tiring now, because at some point you realize you're going round and round, looking for the perfect something that sometimes you even have no idea what you're looking for until you see it. That's when you realize it's perfect. So it was a difficult process, and I think every bride should be aware of that as they get themselves into that. It's not shopping. Definitely it's not shopping. More like hiking.
But that was only the beginning. The real nightmare came with the florist.
What happened? I can see roses. I didn't want roses. What happened? Oh yeah, I was in shock. Sometimes I think the suppliers think they have done it over and over, so they think they know what's best for you. And when you arrive there and see something that you exactly did not want, some hairs at the back of your neck stand. I don't know. I simply don't like roses. I actually thought maybe she's dealing with the wrong client. Maybe she booked up or she confused the appointments. Until I realized it's true, we are doing this, and there's nothing much I would have done because I'd already made the payments. And if it's 2 weeks to the wedding, as a bride or someone who has gone through it, 2 weeks to the wedding, your finances are out. There's no way you will start getting another supplier. Even if you had the money, they're not even available,
As a bride and also as a planner, I think sometimes it's important to try and be reasonable, especially on that day, if there's an explanation as to why the changes have been done.
And that is exactly what happened with Eva.
I don't want to see colored roses at all. To some extent, yes, I was disappointed. But it's a good thing I went for the mock setup. And although I didn't want to see roses, at least we came into a compromise, and I'm glad about that, because it would have been a more difficult situation for me to deal with if that happened during the wedding day,
But this was the height of it all. The bride refused to come out of the car.
Yeah, because I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
I need someone to take a photo. I see first, but I make a decision. Where is the pink netting?
By the way, it's ended.
Brother, where is the pink netting? Sorry? The pink netting. I'm sorry. Sorry.
That's what we are doing because we have done the other side.
Okay.
We've transferred.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Nini, whatever petrol. See,
because the way the floor is, and we were on the other
what's
side.
The net
It rained badly. We've taken photos.
Even all the clothes we had to find out.
The clothing were completely wet, so the floor is just dry. As in, it's so roughy. The church was set, Eva, but it rained completely.
So where is the netting?
The netting is completely dirty. So we are doing something
dirty,
different. Yeah, we're doing something different to cover up that. Because it was Charles saw, everybody took photos because we had done the way exactly what you wanted.
So how am I supposed to walk?
I had them to go and take photos for me to see. There was no way I was gonna walk into that hall without knowing what I'm walking myself into, because it was either I sit in the car until I see, or walk into that place, and if I didn't like what I had seen, I would have actually gone back, which would have been more dramatic. I wanted to have the ceremony, the officiating ceremony outside, and in my head, I thought it would actually rain in the afternoon. So I thought my plan B was going to be the reception. I thought if it rains in the afternoon, now we'd have the reception in the castle. And so when it rained in the morning, gosh, I still have a loss for words even now, When it rained in the morning, it's like everything that I had imagined, like visualized or fantasized to be, it just disappeared, and I had no thoughts of what to expect. Yeah, because as we drove into the venue on the day, and we passed by where the seats for the ceremony would have been, and there was nothing. And I felt heartbroken, because at that point you don't even know what to ask. You don't even want to hear the answers, because it was rather disappointing.
There was a slight point of concern when now she did not leave the car. I didn't clearly get the part when they said she's not coming out. I heard that she's not coming. So then I leaned forward, I said, excuse me, and they said she's not coming out of the car. I was like, that's easy, let's go.
At that point, all I could feel was sadness that you can't explain. It's like emptiness and hopelessness, because there's nothing you can do at that point. You're in your white gown, you don't expect to just, get out of the car and give instructions. There's nothing you can do. At that point, you're relying on others, which is sad, because this is a day you have been planning on end, physically, emotionally. And when that day comes, it's like you're giving away for others to do it for you, and they're not carrying that vision, properly. And the worst thing is that there's nothing you can do.
It would be very difficult for somebody who has not been in that position, who has not been a bride, to understand what this particular bride was going through on that day when she saw that change.
If there is one thing she wishes she had a plan B for, then it was this.
The rain. We actually thought it would rain in the afternoon, and it was a shocker when it actually rained in the morning. So what I would have termed as the highlight of the whole wedding, as they had planned the secret door thing, it didn't happen because of the rain, and it really disappointed me and took me back, and I actually started the day not the way I had wished it But if I had prepared myself psychologically that if that doesn't happen, this can also happen, probably I would have accepted the situation better. So yeah, plan B, plan C if possible even.
So what could they have done differently?
When it started showing signs of raining, they would have told me. They would have called me, or at least they would have told me, so that I give instructions on specifically where maybe in the castle and some of the changes, like when walking walking down the aisle. Probably now I would have maybe given instructions on how to set up the aisle and stuff like that.
I will assure you that no bride is reasonable on the morning of her wedding. I got married when I was already a planner, and I was not reasonable on the morning of my wedding. You want everything to be exactly the way you had wanted it to be in your dream. And if you have laid out your dream to somebody, you expect them to carry out that dream the way you agreed. And if it's going to be changed, you really need to know that it's going to change a little bit so that you can change it in your mind. Because if you're walking and it's not the way it was in your dream, and it's not better, then there's a very big problem.
Yeah, I thought, excuse me, this is my wedding? No one thought it was important for me to know. That was really what pissed me off.
But all is well that ends well.
I learned to just accept what it was and focus on the importance of the day, which was getting married. And at least the groom and the priest were there. So we finally got married, we exchanged our vows, and I learned to accept it, that as much as it didn't go the way I wanted, the purpose of the day happened.
For me, I think I've witnessed enough drama in my life, so it wasn't unexpected, so to speak. Because funny things happen when I'm having big days. Like my graduation, it rained like it has never rained before. It has rained two of my so I think rain was gonna come somehow, but still I wanted her to have her dream. So I was caught between it always rains in my major functions and let her live her dream. There was also this superstition also about this castle that we had to conquer, because the Thursday, the wedding was on Saturday. That Thursday, also again something funny happened, because suddenly I was driving and some motorbike just came from nowhere and I thought the guy was dead. So when I hit the guy, that's like, okay, now the wedding will never. So when I stopped and found the guy alive, I was like, oh, it could have not happened, but it will now happen. So the rain was a very minimal worry.
I think sometimes we forget about, we go through the whole planning of the day and forget the importance of the actual day. When I started walking in and seeing everyone is happy and smiling, I thought, wow, they've appreciated the whole thing. So with that now, I started appreciating it. So by the end of the ceremony, everything was well. Yeah, it went on as it did, and it ended up being a beautiful day after. Yeah, the sun actually came out in the afternoon. I love my dress. It's one of the things I loved the most about it. One, because I searched for it on end and I found it in the most weird or least expected, bridal shops.
And as for the superstition of the Lord's ghost returning to haunt the day,
I'm sure he was smiling down when the whole thing happened. But had he shown up, just like in the olden times, there would have been a bit of a fight. For sure. Given that it took place in his favorite piano room, he wouldn't have defended that. But, so it's almost like his spirit gave in and said, okay, you can have my favorite room for the occasion.
Going through those ups and downs of the wedding, it has made us stronger, and we have learned to appreciate life and not take everything for granted. When you dream of a perfect sunny day wedding, it can actually happen to you. You normally see on TV people, other people, it rains on their wedding day and it actually happens to you. But how you go through it is what matters. And we no longer look at it, in a sad way. We think what came out of it was beautiful, and we are enjoying our marriage.
for Rebecca and Peter, the subject of marriage came up as a by the way in the car.
It's been 1 year, 2 months since my wedding. I'm happy. Life is ticking, normal shape. I'm 7 months pregnant, and I'm excited. I'm loving it.
With a committee of the groom's former schoolmates,
the Miranda men were people who went to the same campus, were doing the same course. They were friends. Those guys are true friends. At the end of the day, even with the budget going up and them coming in to support us. So these guys have been tight. After our wedding, I think there was another one following. They had those guys, almost all of them now are married.
But Rebecca had bridesmaids dropping out of the line last minute.
Okay, so you're dropping out from line, you won't match?
Yeah, that 1,500 is a little bit too much for me.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lillian.
One of your mates?
Yeah.
She's saying that she can't...
She can't do what?
She can't match because of remember,
Yeah.
they had to add the extra money. Can you imagine she's telling me now that she can't... What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to beg her? We've been coming, you saw her the other time. We've been coming here, we've been walking with her. Yeah, I called her, I told her we're having the fitting today.
What did she say? She was coming?
No, I called her, she didn't pick. I wrote her an SMS, she didn't respond. So I thought she was coming.
We looked at different designs, and then I saw this particular design. Then I was able to convince my maids that, seriously, this design is nice. So fine, we had settled on the design. The design was nice. We loved the design. Then came the issue of money, because we had already settled on another designer who was giving us a much lower offer. But this one, people had to add some money. So that one really didn't really work very well, because not everyone had the money.
Dealing with the usual bridesmaids drama was not particularly easy.
Okay, I had 8 maids who I wanted to be in my lineup, but 4 dropped. But on the wedding day, I saw them. They all came. Yeah, and yeah, we are still in communication, and I don't think I have any bad feelings or any grudge.
But Becky learned her lesson.
If you really feel that there are particular things that you really, really want, make it clear to everyone in a polite and nice way. If you have maids who are going to be in your lineup, take time to talk to them. Do it early enough. Ask them, this is what. Tell them it's going to cost you this. It's going to cost you that. To do a particular thing, make them know that if they're the ones. I know there are weddings where people, you can take up all the budget, including even the maids, whatever. But if the maids are the ones who are going to finance themselves, be considerable also on their part.
And she has no regrets at all.
My wedding day was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because my suppliers didn't let me down. Family was family was there for me. We were happy. Friends of my husband. So the day was very, very, very nice. I don't regret changing the design for my maids for the clothes, but it costed me, because some of them dropped out because they had to add money. Yeah, but the design was nice. We were late for church, and we lost the lateness fee, which was, you can't compare it to what you get in your marriage. And yeah, so yeah, we're late. So I wouldn't, to me it's not really, looking back and at the end of the day, and even looking at my video now, how it came out, and even the comments, and even now I still meet people still call me and tell me, whoa, they watched Samantha show, and they still remember me. So to me, I think that is what I wanted, for people to be happy.
After spending the whole of her childhood in the United States, Carol came back home to Kenya 20 years later to find the love of her life. In her thoughts, her wedding day would be a country feel, where the mind can float in the natural continuum of life and the eye can find the horizon, stopping the hands of time, if just for a moment. And yes, she did have her 21 guest wedding. Just with family meddling in her business, at one point, push came to shove.
I'm getting so many phone calls, threatening phone calls. Oh, we'll take you to court, we'll stop the wedding, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, you know what? Where were you yesterday, the day before yesterday, last week, last month, a year ago, my whole life? Because I don't even know who you are right now, and you're calling me with nonsense.
What on earth is going on?
It was down to do or die, and the bride had to put her foot down.
The Askaris know there's like picture of wanted there, mug shots, okay? You see this person, you watch him closely. Anything happens, out.
A lot of you thought she was being extreme, but was she?
I think it's a very good idea. If I could do it, I would have. But then with our African background of being family people and being social and, you know, wanting everybody, parents who want to invite half the guests in your wedding and you don't even know them, and you know, things like those. You find most couples do weddings for the sake of their parents more than for their own sake. I think couples should put their foot down in terms of numbers, especially since you'll find most people taking loans to do big weddings for people they don't know. Yeah, my wedding video, I don't know, 3/4 of those people, I don't know them. I keep on asking, who's this, who's this, who's this? I don't know them. I would actually advocate for lesser people in any wedding. You get to spoil your visit, you get to spoil your guests, you get to treat them the way you want them to be treated, and you get to see everybody who was at your wedding and socialize with everybody who was at your wedding.
And remember the frugal bride?
The whole wedding is a low budget wedding. For one, we don't need to bring tents. If you're going to another venue, I'd have to get the tents. I'd have to get the seats, I'd have to get the table. Another reason why we're doing this, so I don't have to get Lydia to do centerpieces. It's about 200 bob each. So with 10 tables, with 200 bob, that's 2,000 bob.
I get to pick up the wedding cake and drop it here.
If she brings it, she's going to charge 2,000 to come and set it up. Why pay 2,000 to set up one tier? Lord Errol is already charging me for the dessert. So why should I go and pay 50,000 for a cake and Lord Errol has included cake in the dessert?
Hannah may have seemed like a cheapskate to many viewers, but she was determined to keep her expenses to a minimum.
In a nutshell, I don't care about flower arrangements that cost billions and will be left behind. I'd rather we keep time. Everybody has lunch in good time. After lunch, everybody has their choice of tea or coffee, and then everybody leaves by 5. Everybody should have gotten out of this place.
She really stood out for me. You could see that she had the budget for the wedding. It could even go higher, but she wasn't just going to splurge just because she could. She knew what she wanted and she knew what she needed to spend on, and that is exactly what she did.
For many brides and grooms, a wedding is a chance for a perfect event in which to build their lives. The dream of taking a walk down the aisle to say I do, in most cases, is something the bride has planned to the last detail.
That is it for the wedding. It's you walking down your princess moment. Is when you walk down the aisle with your head held up high and, you know, looking very nice. Anything that is going to spoil that moment is a no-no. Is a no-no. It cannot even be discussed.
But human being is to err.
Dear Madam, re-refund to Mrs. SAMANTHA-THE. We regret to have to write this letter. We would want to compensate you for the delay and lack of delivery of some of the items that you ordered for your wedding. We cannot fully compensate you for the delay, but please accept our sincere apology. There's a saying in Kikuyu we say, sorry will not bring back the cups of a white man if you break them when you're washing.
And sometimes you have to pick yourself up and move on.
I forgot about those people. I don't even want to meet them. I did what I wanted to do that day.
All in all, there is only one important thing.
A wedding is taking vows and being there. Is that what it's not? That's what a wedding is. Take vows, be there, and the cake is there, and that's it.
And in hindsight,
go to someone who has done, who is in the tents business for a very long time, someone who is reputable.
Have a plan B. A plan B that you have planned, well planned, just like the actual event, just in case.
It's not easy organizing a wedding. It's not easy when you go through those, each and every one of those details, and then somebody decides, do it my way. The ones you can correct them on the same day. The ones you can't correct, let it be. The ones you can compromise, like I compromised my hair, fine.
Share with us your sentiments regarding today's show on our interactive Facebook fan page, Samantha's Bridal. Follow us on Twitter at sbridal_Kenya, or log on to www.samanthasbridal.co.ke. Discussions are ongoing now.